Hey, Ron Janish here. We're going to take a look at some of the things that went on this week and give you some insights as to what's going on. So earlier this week, we wound up going long the the euro, and all that was prices came down the good old median line, and a couple other lines came in there, and wound up buying it and taking it for a short ride to the upside. Let's take a look. This is See if I can increase the size of this puppy. There we go. Here's a, what is this? Oh, this is live cattle. Live cattle. Wound up selling live cattle up here, okay, putting in a short position. And, and as you may recall, in the group, I sent out the notification of what's going on. And so we'll take a look and see what happened to that trade later on the week, right? Because remember, this is, I think we're looking at Tuesday here. And in the soybeans, on the weekend, I sent out a bunch of charts suggesting this one's going down. And yeah, right around this area here is where I wound up going short. So we'll get to see what's happened so far with this. So here you can see the positions as I mentioned. Okay, we're going to show two different accounts here. Both are real money. One is at TD Ameritrade, and that's the one you see on the chart. I call it the demo account. Okay, but they're all real money. And the other, and typically in the demo account, I trade one contract at a time. And then there's another account, it's at Interactive Brokers, and you can see here what the actual positions are. And and the cattle I mentioned while going short, got 6 cattle on. That seems like a lot, but not really. €2, long €2, and short 4 bean contracts. Okay, so let's see. Let's go on and see what happened. Now, during the next day, we also had a $500 loss in YM, which is the Dow Jones, and took off half of the short position in the beans and harvested a $1,400 profit on that. So you can see here, $1,400 profit that was in the beans and $500 loss in YM. And that was, sometimes you take losses. You do, to avoid massive pain of massive losses. And as you can see, we're still short the cattle, still long the euros. Got a decent profit in both these guys, and put on a position in RGLD. This was Tuesday. That must have been Monday up there. Huh? Yeah, it could have been Monday. Okay, so it was a Wednesday. Anyway, below this here is the next day, which is Thursday, I believe. And as you can see, we're still short 2 of the soybeans, and sort of regretting it, but sort of not. I mean, you can see this guy went up really. It went in my favor really nicely, and we're still short the cattle, and and now when we got out of the euro, but it'll say here we took a loss, which we did. But what happened was Matthew came by on Wednesday, and we wound up discussing the euro in the afternoon. I said, "Oh, what the hell? I'll get out." Boom! Sure enough, got out and took a small profit. And on the next day here, we got in long again, and just took a loss. So overall on the trade, actually made a profit. Just lesson learned is when other people are chit-chatting with you on about the markets, maybe that's not the best time to do your own clear analysis. Anyway, also wound up telling you guys about, you course members, about going short the New Zealand dollar. And this is one I'll probably hang in there for a while. And we'll show you the chart on this in a moment. As you can see, price wound up going up here. And no, we won't be in this very long. But this guy will probably go down, make some lower lows, and we'll see from there. Sell prices went up to the median line, tried to stay past it, couldn't, wound up going short. Okay, we'll see what happens. Let's see, RB also wound up buying RB, which is gasoline. Wound up buying over here somewhere, and we'll see how that works out. Okay. Friday morning. That's today. So in the Australian dollar, where we entered a short position, let's see if we can. There we go. No, that's the top of the page. Let's see if we can go down here. Up. Okay, let's go down again. Let's see where this is. Okay, here we go. And New Zealand dollar wind up entering a short position. Yeah, target's probably down here somewhere. We'll have to wait and see. I'll have to take another look at this guy to see what, let me see what I want to do with this. Okay. And I'm going to give you an update on some of the stuff that's going on, and that'll be nice news for you. It's the gas. So here's Friday morning. Here we go. Wound up going short the Australian dollar. Now I know that yesterday I wound up putting a thing out on this guy here, and technically this was a good place to go short, but I wound up doing it this morning over here. And as you can see, let's take a look at positions. Did a little quick trade in the British pound, small loss. Good to keep losses small. Short Australian dollar in the regular account, right? Still long the Royal Gold, that's going up and down nowhere. New Zealand dollar still short. Okay. RB, the gasoline, went up quite a bit and came back downish, but still long. Soybeans, this is probably going to last a while, this trade. Still short, a couple of contracts, and the cattle still short, half a dozen contracts. So give it a little time. Let's take a look at the charts. Here's the cattle. So I'm looking for something down in this area here. And here's the RBH, the ultimate targets up here. It's right now the position is no longer positive as I speak. It's now all negative, but I put on more, and here's why. Remember that thing I discussed in another video where we have what I call a waterfall trade, or looking for a waterfall trade, or it's a waterfall or geyser, you know. It's a what happens is using intraday charts, what I'll find is I'll get a buy order. I'll wind up going long, like I did in this guy here, and then what the market does is it comes back and will very often give me a second chance to buy at a better price. Okay, and so I'm looking into that to see when I can predict that ahead of time. Because if I can predict that ahead of time, I can take the profit and then just get back in for the second try entry, right? Okay, so here we are. What the heck is this? This looks like, oh, soybeans. Those are the soybeans. Soybeans are doing nicely. What happened to cattle? Oh, there's the cattle. Cattle are doing nicely too. Okay. So here's an update on some stuff. I've got Matthew starting on this, and what it is it's a way of, for me, it's a way of teaching something, and let's just put it this way: there's a lot of homework to it. Okay, and the reason we have the homework is to make sure that that the person who's the student really gets it, and so we're going to have an intensive homework program for anybody who wants it that's in the expanded course, and there's a lot of work to it, but the advantage is it's very directed. And so, for example, just to start it off, I had him doing looking for EPs, and he found about 30 of them in the last year in the futures contracts and the dailies. And then he drew a certain line for it, and the idea was to capture the P5 on the EP, and this line, and so which is the extreme of the move, and it did it in about 50% of the cases. And what's fun is when it reverses in that area, it then typically goes down to the R1. Okay, and that's a pretty good move. And so that's kind of a way of picking tops in some cases. So it's kind of interesting. And that was the first one he did. And now he's working on some other ones, and these will take some time. These are not trivial. And so what he's going to do is he's going to take a look at them on daily and then on intraday. And then so after he does the charts, he puts them in Word format, snapshots in a Word format. And I wind up looking them over to make sure he's really got it, and then we wind up compiling statistics. And the usefulness of this is absolutely incredible, because we make sure that the student in this case winds up really getting it. Okay, and that's what's important about it. Okay, so that's the end of this week. Today is January 17th. I wish you a good weekend and good trading.